just beautiful lilting storytelling over music and flutes, and it was the most relaxing thing ever. And I was just laying there on the hill, just about asleep, in the most meditative state that I think I've ever been in. And it was just goosebumps. The sun was setting, this beautiful music was playing, and it just, got goosebumps now.
Welcome to Radio Woodfordia with your host, Harley Breen. I was a little bit secret, and then I made it public, intimidated about my guest in this episode. It's Sarah Howells from Triple J, Double J fame, because, you know, she's a broadcaster. She knows what she's doing. And I'm like, don't expose how shit I am. But she was a good yarn. She was a good hang, but she was also here for a purpose. It's program launch time, and she had her hands on hot property. The program was in her hand. We got to chat about her history in radio and her love for music and her connection with this festival. And then she just gave us a little morsel of what is in this meaty program. It's a big one. Enjoy. Hey, Sarah.
Hi.
Now, first of all, I have to admit something. It's only because your name is written down. It's Sarah House, but I always thought it was Sarah House.
Yeah, it's not, but people do that occasionally. Yeah. Sarah, I perhaps just can't enunciate my own name. I'm not sure. Well, but I get Howell without the S. I get House. I'm sure I've had some other weird ones over the years.
But it's because of the way I know you, and that's the other point I want to make, is how, I'm just being honest, I feel a little bit intimidated because I'll put you in radio royalty. You
really?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, 20 years on the public service.
Mm-hmm. 21.
21.
Oh, look
there
out.
You go. 21 today.
Do I get a key or something?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
And I know you, like, you speak, and I'm like, I'm listening to the radio. So now I'm like, oh, God, I have to interview Sarah Howells. Or House. On the best radio network in the country now. But you have, for those who don't know, have been involved in the J's of the triple and the double kind, and are now on the ABC local. Welcome. Thanks for doing a lowly podcast.
I love podcasts, but this is the first podcast I've ever been on.
No.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I suppose you're busy interviewing people, and I suppose everything you've been on gets turned into a podcast now, such as the way of...
True, yes. I guess you can, get the app, listen to the ABC, that sort of stuff. Yeah, but it's different to a podcast because it's still live flow radio, which is different. Yeah.
It is different. I don't want to say this to cut my own lunch here, but I love live radio.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Yeah. Like, I feel like, not to call into question your future job security, we're a dying breed, but I love the idea of just turning it on and hearing what's on right now. Is that what drew you to it? Is it what keeps you there? Because 21 years is a long time.
It is. I guess the question what drew me to it is different to what keeps me there. But what keeps me there is people, being able to share people's stories, being able to connect people is kind of it. It's like when I was growing up, and this is how I first fell in love with radio, small town, nerdy girl at school, few close friends, but felt completely like no one understood me. Flipped the radio dial one day, it landed on Triple J, literally. And all of a sudden I felt like I had community, and there were people that understood me, and there were songs that told my stories. And that's kind of what it's always been about for me, whether it's music or whether it's sharing stories that incredible people in the community and what they're doing, or connecting people. That's why I do it, just be able to be somewhere where people can tell their stories and be able to put people on a platform that are doing amazing things but no one knows about it. And I'm like, everyone should know about you because you're incredible. And yeah, it's just exciting.
That's great. And I would say, to take a guess, I heard before we turned the mics on, you grew up in the West.
Well,
was that?
I was born in WA, but I grew up in Northern Rivers, New South Wales from when I was about 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then the Jays would have been on the radio your whole upbringing then?
Because I lived in Murwillumbah, so kind of halfway between Byron and the Gold Coast, for those that don't know. And we only got Triple J in, I think, 94 94 or 95.
That's the same for me.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in sort of, well, a similar town in terms of sugarcane. Very different in a lot of other ways in Bundaberg in Queensland. And that's when we got Triple J. And it was a game changer. To have that kind of thing on. So I can understand that sort of thirst to be involved in it. So then how did you go from being a fan, and I'm going to get into the point of also, I think you should just be on as a guest, but you're also here in a little bit of an official role. It's very exciting talking about this, the program of this wonderful festival.
Yeah.
You're the face of Woodford. I don't know how that happened.
There's many faces of Woodford, I think.
But how do you go from a teenage girl in Murwillumbah to then being on the Jays for a very long time? Like you're a very recognisable voice and name, an essential service, unique in the world. Triple J, I've got a great affection from it. How was that transition?
Yeah, so I guess it started for me loving music, and it was always about the music. So I went to my first live show when I was 15 in Murwillumbah. It was a big Drink Drunk, The Difference Is You DDU concert, which is so nerdy now.
That's great.
But I loved it. And I saw Regurgitator, Spiderbait and all these local bands and Triple J Unearthed bands, and went to that. And then I just stood in this crowd and went, this feels amazing. I want other people to feel this too. How can I share music with more people? And then I discovered that there were gigs being put on in Lismore, like about an hour away. And so I started a petition to get a bus from Wollongbar to go to Lismore for this gig. It was a Green Spoon show. And of course.
I got a big crush on them from Lizard for the locals. Yeah, great.
So good. And so the petition got up. We ended up with a bus load of people going down. And from there, I did that a few times, and then our local council created a group of young people to put on gigs in our own region. And so I got on that. And so for 4 years, I was putting on shows once a month for all ages shows, booking 3 local bands, doing the marketing for it as part of a youth group. So that was from when I was about 16.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I loved it.
And this is pre-internet.
Yeah, so I never thought I'd work in music in any way. I just thought it would be this awesome thing that I always did on the side when I had a real job. So, yeah, it kind of just went from there. Then I ended up going to uni, doing the sensible business degree, business and marketing. I was doing every assignment I could make about music I did. So when we were doing a business plan, I did a business plan for the organisation that we had putting on these all-ages gigs. I did just everything. I wove it in there however I could. Did my electives in the music business category at Griffith Uni as well. So that was cool. And then from there, let's face it, I ended up on the dole for a little bit. I was working part-time,
mate,
but not enough.
You wouldn't be here if you hadn't had a moment on the dole.
Yeah, I was working part-time, but not enough to get off that. And so then I was considered long-term unemployed. And I don't tell many people this, but it was actually John Howard's Work for the Dole that got me volunteering, doing Work for the Dole, creating a radio show in Byron Bay.
No credit to John.
Everyone's like, Work for the Dole, that didn't work. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, nothing.
It worked for me.
Yeah. But it was great because a family friend was running this radio thing, and I was like, yeah, right, I'll give that a go, and ended up doing that for 6 months. And I said, how would you go about getting a job at Triple J? Like, that's the dream. And they went, oh, here's Costa Zulio's number, who was running the Brisbane office at the time, and I gave him a call. He said, yeah, come up and meet me. I met him, and then he said, yeah, if you want to come in on Fridays and label CDs and volunteer, you can. So I did, and did that for a year, and then I got graveyard shifts.
That's amazing. I love the opportunities that come from naivety. When you're just like, I don't know, I guess I'll just do this. Yeah. And I'd say to any of the youth listening at the moment, radio's on its way down. So you could do that now. You could just go, I'll come in and work for free. And they'll be like, yeah, okay. And you could be on the air. There's, I've found in the people I've chatted to, both off mic and on, there's usually 2 reasons people are into music or this kind of world. Is either that's what you grew up in or you're bucking back at a very opposite world. Which one is it?
It's what I grew up in a way. Yeah. So when I was in my early teens, pretty much until I was 14, I rebelled against my parents and their taste in music. So I went to E17 and Take That. Because my dad had incredible taste in music. He played guitar, he was a singer. Growing up in our house, the things that were on were, Led Zeppelin and old blues tunes, and it was all of that kind of Jimi Hendrix. Like, that was what my dad thought was cool. So I could not.
What a loser.
I could not think that was obviously not cool.
Yeah.
So, I went the other way. And then when I was 14, I remember the moment Dad said to me, come watch this, you'll like this. And it was Rage. And I looked at the TV and it was the film clip for Silverchair Tomorrow.
Great film clip.
Great film
Really
clip.
Great.
That light bulb really features a lot in there. But, it was just that moment that I went, oh, my goodness, these guys are amazing. They were my age. And they were making this music that was unlike anything I'd ever heard before.
But like heaps of stuff that your dad had heard.
Actually, very much like Nirvana, as many people said at the time.
But
I just fell in love with it. And from that moment, and that around the same time flicking that dial to Triple J, I just discovered this whole amount of music. And since then, my dad and I we just shared music. Like he listened to Triple J music the whole time that I was there, and not just because I was there, but he always loved new music. And so we would just be swapping music and talking music. So it was kind of what I grew up in. I had a moment to rebel and then, back into it.
And then he brought you back in.
Yeah.
Actually, on that subject of the sort of the age that listens to Triple J, because this has been, I think, for as long as I've been listening to Triple J, which is as long as you have, for when it arrived in my little country town, the common phrase is Triple J's changed. And my opinion on that is actually it never has. It's actually never changed at all. It moves with what is the now. And I still tune in to a point where, as a 45-year-old man, I should be put on a watch list. Because it's not for me. Would you agree with that? Like, it is, it's the youth station, And so there's moments where I'm just like, what is this shit? And no names given. But actually, it's because it's not for me. And I think that's what's uniquely great about it, that it's always stayed the course to be for that demographic. Yeah,
absolutely. And when I was working there, people would say, oh, it's turned to shit, it's terrible, what are they doing? And I said to them, how old are you? They're like 27. Well,
you're out.
It's not for you, you're too old. They didn't like that very much.
Yes.
I was like, you're too old, you just don't have this taste in music. But people don't believe it. They think it's changed. And it has changed because it's changed to what people in that age group listen to.
Yes.
Which is forever changing, as you say. Yeah.
It does move with it. There are moments, though, where I think there's some things, and I don't know how the mechanisms work behind the curtain, but there are some things that are championed and some things that are excluded. And I guess the best example I'd use would be Taylor Swift. Why are there certain things okay within that demographic? But Taylor Swift doesn't need Triple J. But is that the reason, do you think, is their focus been to elevate music that maybe doesn't get elevated because she has,
I think
the biggest selling her latest album's the biggest selling album of all time ever.
Yeah, everyone that she does is, isn't it? It feels like
Well, she only just beat Adele.
Yes.
Yeah, for the record. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How do I know that? Put me on a watch list.
Swiftie.
Anyway.
I get it. It's interesting. And look, the answer to that is really way above my pay grade.
Right, yeah.
And not the decisions that I made, because I would, on Roots and All and Stir It Up on Double J, I curate my own playlist. But everything else, Weekend Lunch, when I did that was all done by, centrally by the music director. So those decisions are made by them. Triple J's always been one for championing younger artists, newer artists, that grassroots kind of stuff. But it doesn't mean that they don't play. Like, they've had Beyonce on their playlist in recent years. So totally. I'm not sure why some things get through and some don't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was a devil's advocate kind of question. It's like, well, what can have it and what can't have it? And I think what they've done really well is allowed shows like yours to allow people that are quite clearly music nerds to go, this is what I want to show to the audience. I think that's really invaluable, and I hope that we keep it. And then you move from the triples to the dubs, which is where my demographic sits very happily. I'm like, this is like Triple J when I was a kid. It's really good.
Yeah.
And was that a good transition for you to move over there?
It was. And it was interesting. I didn't transition straight across. There was a bit of a gap in the middle. But I love Double J. I think
so do I.
It's so
it's really
smart.
good.
Because it used to be you age out of Triple J, essentially. Where do you go?
Where do you go?
People would say to local radio. And that's great. But if you just want a music focused station, then
Yes.
there wasn't anything. So, yeah, when they took over Dig as it was and it became Double J, that was such a good moment. And I loved being on that station too.
Yeah, it's really good. And then from there, you've gone to local radio,
Yeah.
which is now where I'm at, by the way. And I love it because I love that on-the-moment social commentary. But that must be a big change for you because that story is the reason to be in there is music. But now you're filling a lot of time on air with talk.
Yeah.
How have you found that?
Yeah, good. It's interesting because I'm in this for the music. I'm not in the radio industry. I'm in the music industry, you know. And I took 6 months after Triple J and just travelled around the world by myself, which is the most amazing thing I've ever done for myself and understanding me. And what I realised is that it wasn't the music, although I do love the music, it was the connection. And that I can do that connection with interviews and talk back and asking people to call in about something and sharing their stories. And so I still love that side of thing. Is it very different? I'd still love more music. Always love more music.
Of course, yeah, totally. But it's a different, well, I mean, there's a different skill. You clearly have the skill to have a yarn, but rather than go, hey, this is what I've heard and I think is really great, it's, hey, this is what I've heard, let's have a discussion about what I've heard, create that story.
Yeah.
But in that, and we're jumping around a lot because I do want to get into, part of the purpose of why you're here is to talk about this amazing program for Woodford 25-26. Was it to fill a gap in music that you kicked off? Is it the Sunshine Coast Music Collective?
Yeah, so I didn't kick it off. They've been doing that for about 3 or 4 years before I jumped on board the board. But yeah, the Sunshine Coast Music Industry Collective, too many words, but does incredible things, was created just because the Sunshine Coast has this incredible music industry, but nobody knows about it. I worked at Triple J for 13 years or something. If you'd said the Sunshine Coast has a great music industry, I would have been like, really? But it does. 1 in 41 people work in the music industry on the Sunshine Coast.
That's a real stat.
That's a real stat.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So when you talk about regional areas that have a lot of musicians, a lot of recording studios, you think Byron Bay, you think, maybe even the Gold Coast, but no one thinks about the Sunny Coast. But it's all happening. There's all of these up-and-coming artists who are absolutely killing it at the moment, very up and coming, and then you've got people like Betty Taylor who are winning Triple J Unearthed and touring the world. You've got established artists who moved there like Xavier Rudd, Katie Noonan, Jeff Martin from the Tea Party, and yet it's this sleepy little place that no one talks about. So Sunshine Coast Music Industry Collective was created to elevate that conversation nationally, internationally, but also to help out the industry there and, provide what they need and that kind of thing. So, yeah. It's been many years of the boring stuff like getting an ABN and setting up a bank account, and then I decided to get on the board.
It does suck, that shit.
That's stuff you guys can do. And then I've been invited. Great, let's do this.
Yeah.
So then we put on our first Sunshine Coast Music Awards this year, which was incredible.
Yeah, wow. The first time that those have happened, and that's under your stewardship of...
Well, not just mine.
Take the credit. Take it.
Nah, there's 9 people on the board. So
of course,
I'm
there's
just
always a group.
I'm the vice chair, but, there is a chair.
Whoever.
Whatever it is. So, it had happened before, I think 19 years ago. There had been this little Sunshine Coast Music Awards that someone else had put on, but since then it hadn't happened. And so we were like, well, if we're going to tell people how good it is, let's show them. Let's give some awards out to some people who are just smashing it in the music industry here and further abroad. And also a big part of it is just bringing people that work in that industry into the same room. You've got people who never get a chance to talk to each other or don't even know that there's people that work on the industry on the coast. So, it's a lot of it was about being in the same room together and celebrating the amazing stuff that's happening there. So
my industry is really similar. Stand-up comedy is there's heaps of similarities, and on this point I want to make there are still similarities, but we have more collaboration in comedy because we're usually in a lineup together and sitting in a green room. But the more I talk to musicians, the more I realise they're really fragmented and they don't spend a lot of time together, and they may even live in the same region and not even know that. Well, they're just around the corner in Murwillumbah. So that's a great initiative to be bringing in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, dealing with musicians, I imagine, is brings its challenges, like herding cats. But
I don't know. They're all right.
they're great. And also, Sunshine Coast, fastest growing city in Australia. Well, was, I think it's Geelong now. Whatever, who cares?
Pretty close.
They lost the AFL.
It'll change
Shut
again.
up.
You know.
Then you, in that time too, you've had a very long time being addicted to this wonderful festival, the Woodford Folk Festival, which Radio Woodfordia is the loudspeaker for. I can see the connection between your love and your interest, but this is, you know, outside of the, I'm not ever going to call Triple J or Double J mainstream, but this is, if it was, this is to the side of that. How did you find this place if you're...
Well, in 1998, my mum won tickets in a competition.
Great.
That's how I found it.
Really?
She won a day pass to Woodford for the family.
On the radio? That'd be perfect.
I actually can't remember. She had this hobby where she would enter every competition that was going
Right.
for like 3 years, and she won something every week.
That's awesome.
She was
Always
so
had the
good
shopper
at it.
dockets in the purse
Yeah,
as well.
all of that.
Great. That's
yeah,
great.
it was great. So she won tickets, and my brother and I and mum and dad came along, and like everyone does, I think, or most people when they come here for the first time, just walked around going, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was 98, and I've felt like it's home ever since then. And I've done so many different things here since then. It's kind of bizarre to look back at, you know. Like I've been a punter. I worked for a little bit as the publicist for Woodford. I've MC'd on the stage. I've DJ'd on the stage as a performer. I've done ABC radio interviews here. I've been the person that was kind of in contact when Triple J was one of the sponsors one year. And now I do an onstage thing every year, which is like a best of the festival kind of variety show. That then
do you?
Yeah.
Right, wow.
Yeah, I'm in the program.
Which, what a pro. What a pro. Which is what we're here to talk about, because I love this festival. Man, they're cagey about announcing anything. And we're recording this on the day of the program launch. And it's even amazing that you've got the program in front of you. They wouldn't let me touch it.
It feels weird. They can give you one ahead. I'm like, hold up.
But don't you look at it.
That's not a thing that happens.
And it's a big one. I do love the weight of that book. My wife has held on to every one of the programs and she's pretty much a Woodford baby, been coming her whole life, and since our babies have arrived, she's got all of those programs. But this one seems more weighty. Have you had a chance to flick through it? What are the elements of there that immediately jump out at you for this year's festival?
It is huge, and I have had the briefest look at it. Also, the thing that excites me most about Woodford is I've been discovering music my whole life, but every year Woodford brings a stack of stuff I've never heard of that I know is going to become my next favourite thing. So that's my favourite thing.
Which is
The
super
stuff
exciting.
I don't know about.
Yeah.
But there's I know a lot of people will think I'm going to answer this with a bunch of band names, which I can also do. But the one thing that made me go, oh my God, Spanky Jackson is coming.
Oh, talk me through Spanky Jackson.
Spanky Jackson.
I know who you're talking about, but talk me through it like I don't.
An incredible drag performer
Yes.
from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Won RuPaul's Drag Race, which
Big
I
deal.
have watched so many seasons of. I absolutely love it. And I've never seen her perform live. Never.
Well, will be huge, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I love drag, and I'm very excited to check that out.
Yeah, and I think I would already know without even opening that what venue she will be on at too, which is a venue very close to my heart. It will be an exceptional watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
At like
great.
9:30 at night. So,
Yeah, which is the
It's
right
about
sort of
right.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that's been the case for me as well. Like I grew up in a very sort of puritanical Methodist upbringing, and I didn't have a lot of access to mainstream music. But my father did cast his eye back, and sort of weirdly in a similar way to you and your connection with your father. But so I sort of grew up with Bob Dylan and Tom Waits, and I'm the better for it. And then it took me a very long time once I transitioned out to start to try and explore music. And I would say even just in the last 10 years, largely because of this festival, I've started to go, I can be naive and just be into that. And, this festival has been great. I mean, a guy I just interviewed the other day, Joe H. Henry. I'm now wearing braces. Yes, I've got a bad crush on him.
What's going to happen if you interview Spanky Jackson?
Oh, well, listen, mate, I'll put on a dress. I don't even mind. They are breezy. I do it. I'm always in the sarong here at Woodford. I'm like, that is the right shit. Why did the girls get this stuff? This is for the boys.
Right. Look, if girls can wear pants now,
absolutely,
boys should be able to wear dresses.
Put it on me.
It's fine.
Yeah. All right. So Spanky Jackson.
Yes.
Anything else tripping your trigger?
Bobby Arlou, who I have been seeing live for so many years, but he's one of those artists that no matter how many times I see him, I go back again.
Yeah.
He's just incredible. Humble brag, but I was the first person to play his music on the radio ever. We were mates before that. He was working in other different bands and stuff. And then one day he handed me this CD with just Bobby Arlou written on it in pen and said, oh, yeah, I've been doing this as a uni project. Do you want to listen to it? And I went, all right. And I put it on in my car and I said to him, who's singing? And he's like, that's me. I was like, what? Because before that, I'd only ever seen him play percussion. And he's just grown so much over the many years he's been making music since then. And just, even if it's just him and a ukulele, it's just incredible. Yeah. So I love Bobby Arlou. He's a big one.
I have, my whole body is in goosebumps. My wife is a friend and his music was playing when my first child with my wife was born in our home.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, and then I'd met him a couple of times through my wife and saw him after the fact at a beer festival, actually, that we were at. I'm like, what a great beer festival to book Bobby Arlou. And I didn't know he was on.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that as well. That's really exciting. Yeah.
William Crichton's another one who's incredible. Yeah. William Crichton from kind of around the Hunter Valley region. And just the first time I saw him ever play, I was in this tiny venue in Brisbane and he just started in the middle of the room. Like all of a sudden there was this guy in the middle of a room. I think he was playing a ukulele as well at the time. And he just started belting out this song, completely acoustic, this incredible, huge voice. And it just was like, wow, what is that? And he made his way up to the stage. And William Crichton tells the most passionate stories on stage and with his music. And the music he makes is just really powerful and you can dance to it. And I love what he's been doing as well. So I'm excited to see him play again.
Okay, I'm going to make a note of that. And it's another thing I really like about this space is that I think a lot of times music gets put into this box of just play the music and just do the music. Because that's your job and dance. But here it's like there's so many storytellers because that's my genuine passion is storytelling and I put it through the lens of comedy. But there's so many musicians that turn up here that actually are storytellers.
Yeah.
And then they have nice interludes of music. Yeah. And then they tell a story. Yeah. And they're dynamic to watch. Okay, cool. Got anything else?
Frank and Louie.
Yeah.
Have you heard of them?
No.
They're from the Sunshine Coast.
Right.
Two brothers. They've been busking for years and yet one of them's still in school. The other one's just finished school. So they're very young.
But been busking for years.
But been busking since they were tiny.
Like, smart parents. Get out there.
Adorable photos too. There's some good Instagram fodder. Yeah, they're incredible. Beautiful harmonies, two guitarists. Sometimes they'll have a band with them. Sometimes they won't. They just won Young Artist of the Year at the Sunshine Coast Music Awards this time around. And they're just something special. I get goosebumps whenever I see them. They won the Triple J Unearthed spot at Big Sound this year, so they were able to showcase in front of an industry crowd as well, which was fantastic. And they've only released 2 songs.
Wow.
So despite doing this for so long, they've kind of meted out those songs that they've released and are just focusing on doing it really well and doing it right rather than rushing things. And beautiful. They're going to be massive. They're just huge. I love them.
The smart youth. Yeah, and is that their first time here? Is this their debut?
It might be. Yeah, wow. I'm not totally sure, but it might be. Yeah.
As artists, I guess, if they're that close and they do that kind of thing, maybe they've been here before.
Yeah.
Anything outside of the music world, or if you've got more music, we can keep going on that. That's your area of expertise and passion.
Yeah, I haven't had too much of time to flick through too much else of it. Yeah. I always love the workshops that pop up as well. Like I said, there's some weaving workshops in there and making wreaths and that sort of thing, which is fantastic. We were talking just before this about the 3 minutes of silence.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, isn't it?
Like there's some really powerful moments that happen at Woodford and they're not necessarily about what's in the program too.
No, I was speaking that with another guest that I've had on the. Sorry to be cheating on you, but there's other people, and that this beautiful program of music, and if I do say so myself, comedy, and the kids festival, and the workshops and all of that. But actually, those are all the sum of the parts. I use this phrase. That's the sugar on the vegetables, and that the music is great, and there's some big names and some unknowns and all of that. But there's these. If you stop and just breathe right down into your diaphragm and look around, there's so many great moments of connecting and connection that all those things go into. And that 3 minutes, it's wonderful to see it unfold, especially for first-timers.
Yes.
You're like, what's happening? You're like, just let it happen.
Yeah.
This is going to be good. You're going to enjoy this. And they're like, ooh. That changed my shit.
Yeah. It's like it just says so much about so many people in one space all being on the same page.
And everyone just gets on board with that. And I think I say this too, that I found out the origins of it from Becky, who runs the Children's Festival, that it was actually a response to a New Year's one year where a whole lot of people arrived and the vibe sort of changed. And they're like, let's shift, because the 3 minutes is at 11:30 on New Year's Eve. So the big moment isn't the countdown. It's actually at 11:30. And it's a masterstroke to just go, hey, everyone, just center yourself. Just,
yeah, bring it back.
Yeah. And then you find yourself getting through midnight. You're like, oh, did it happen? Did it? I don't know.
Oh, come on. There's a countdown.
I've wandered into the bush. There is a countdown.
Staying awake for sunrise, no matter what.
Yeah, totally. And then
no.
you walk up the hill. Well, I suppose on that, is there a moment for you in the many years that you've been here, those Woodford stories, that arriving at a thing that you didn't think you were going to be at and experiencing, or, meeting a person that you now are deeply entrenched with?
The one that comes to mind, actually, because I was just thinking about the hilltop sunset ceremony, which I think less people talk about. We'll talk about the sunrise one, which is big on New Year's Day.
Never been to it, by the way.
The sunrise?
No, I've never been. I really have to. I'll make an effort.
I think it took me about 10 years of coming and saying I would make it before I actually did, and then I fell asleep for the sunrise on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
So, you get there eventually. But yeah, the sunset one's just beautiful. And there was a Sufi band playing here one year, and I couldn't have even told you what Sufi was at that time.
No, I don't know. It sounds like a food.
Don't make me explain it because I'll get it wrong.
Good.
But it was this just beautiful lilting storytelling over music and flutes, and it was the most relaxing thing ever. And I was just laying there on the hill, just about asleep, in the most meditative state that I think I've ever been in. And it was just goosebumps. The sun was setting. This beautiful music was playing, and it just, got goosebumps now.
Yeah,
even
that's
talking
great.
about
I can see you reliving it. That's good.
Gorgeous.
Well, I think there's those sorts of moments. You're like, I wasn't planning on this, and you couldn't plan on it. That they just sort of come out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, that's happening now. Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a great pleasure of mine and privilege to be able to interview you. I hope I did a good job.
10 out of 10.
Thank you. That's really good. Well done. The program's out. Thank you very much, Sarah Howells.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Positives are, I think I have a new friend. And also, the program's out. You can get that program. You don't have to wait for it in that hard copy book, which is a beautiful thing to have and store and keep. But you can get it online. You can go onto the website. You can even just click on genres that you're into and see who's on. I thoroughly enjoyed the connection that Sarah and I had around Bobby Arlou. I'm pumped about him being back. Also, Briggs is back. What a great act. The comedy program, I mean, Sarah didn't bring it up. No offence taken, but it's red hot, if I do say so myself. And of course, this very podcast will be doing live shows at what used to be called the Wine Bar, but they love to change names. It's now called the Piano Bar, and I will be there hosting live shows every day for first one of the day at 1 p.m. Come along. Enjoy it. We'll have guests. We'll have wines. It'll be a wonderful time. Hey, this was recorded on Jinnaburra country. Thanks to everyone involved in doing this, including the production staff at Woodfordia Inc. The music is by the East Pointers. I'm your host, Harley Breen. Get into that program. what a magical breed of potato.
What about pumpkin?
A purple russet as well.
Pumpkin.
I would probably be a jack.
So I would have said you're a Kent.
Kent is
That's my joke.
mate.
That's my joke.
Are we recording?
Got him.
Very good.